Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Double 18 Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Nagishi, along with my co-host on to my right on your screen. It is Ken Fang from Awful Announcing. Ken, thanks for doing this on this Saturday. How are you?
Good. How are you, Stephen? Signing on today. Tomorrow will be busy. Of course, there's some type of football game that's playing tomorrow. I heard. Not to. I don't know if it's going to be watched by a lot of people, but it's going to be played tomorrow at 6 p.m. So Eastern time. I don't know who's playing in it. But I heard it's going to be big, and it'll be on it. I think NBC's carrying it. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're doing our show today at this 3 o'clock time slot. Unfortunately, I'm working tomorrow at this time, and I probably will not be back in time to, for the first quarter, maybe closer to halftime. Hopefully, still catch the glimpse of the, Bad Bunny halftime show, which we will talk about it in a little bit later. But let's get to the Super Bowl. New England, Seattle, the rematch of Super Bowl 49, which we all know the infamous pass that got tipped and intercepted, which, ultimately ended the Seahawks repeat there. I do not expect anything like that to happen again. It's kind of interesting from a national media perspective that there's really not much buzz surrounding this Super Bowl. Part of it, I think, is the New England fatigue. They're back at it again, even post Tom Brady. Took them several years to get back to this position, but they're back at it again. Obviously, a lot of the sports fans are not thrilled with that thought of New England winning the perhaps another Super Bowl and then starting another dynasty now with Drake May at the helm. On the flip side, Seattle, it seems as though they're a bit of a sentimental favorite. Sam Darnold's redemption game seems to be the conversation there. After bombing at New York and then just bouncing around from a couple of teams and then rejuvenating himself last year with the Minnesota Vikings before blowing out against the Rams and just completely torpedo his value there. He's landed nicely in Seattle. Of course, there's the great defense and great running game that complements Darnold there. What are your overall thoughts on this game from a media perspective, Ken?
Well, like you said, there hasn't been much buzz, actually, believe it or not. I think Olympics have holding the Olympics at the same time as the Super Bowl. A lot of the world's attention is gone to the Olympics, of course, which are being held in Milan and Cortina. And, it's interesting. So you never think Super Bowl is an afterthought, but there was talk in San Francisco that there wasn't really much buzz going into it. And of course, with the game being in Santa Clara, and then the San Francisco being not being very close to it. Santa Clara is several miles away, San Jose area. So it's not.
That's where the media. What is that? The usual player interview took place, right, in San Jose, right?
Yeah, well, they were. They were in San Jose. Then the media radio row is in San Francisco in the Moscone Center.
Right.
The game is in Santa Clara, so it's pretty much spread out. I remember when I covered the Super Bowl in New York and New Jersey. Everything was, even though it was New York, New Jersey, everything was pretty close. So, of course, it was a cold weather city, so that didn't help matters either. But and it was still on the ground that year. But also, that's where I met Jane Slater of NFL Network and. Also, Peter Burns, now of SEC Network. Peter was at the time doing work in Colorado. Jane was helping produce his show, and interesting to see how they've gone. So it was good to meet them. But also too, you would like to have a Super Bowl that's everything is concentrated in one area. This is kind of like you got Santa Clara is where the game is. San Jose is where some events are. San Francisco is where other events are. So the media, of course, has been talking about and been complaining. The media likes to complain. Last time I heard a lot of complaints about a Super Bowl was when it's in Jacksonville, when people complained about when the media complained about their hotel accommodations, which nobody cares about. Nobody cares about how the media feels. Nobody cares about your accommodations. Nobody cares about your hotel room. Okay, you're there to cover a game. So we're seeing these similar complaints from the media in San Francisco. You're in a world-class city. San Francisco is a great city. If you have something to complain about San Francisco, then you're definitely, your head is not on straight. It's one of the great cities in the world, but the media likes to complain. So there was no buzz about this, and usually fans don't start coming into the area until about Thursday or so. So the media was complaining that there was no buzz, but there were no fans around either. So, and New England is coming over from the East Coast, so it's a big trip for them. Seattle, of course, it's an easy trip for them coming down from Seattle in the Great Northwest. But overall, I think that there was really some really low buzz about this Super Bowl. I thought there'll be a lot more. I did see the NFL honors, Stephen. I don't know you got to see it as well. MVP was Matthew Stafford by one first place vote. For some reason, someone voted for the Chargers quarterback, Justin Herbert, which I don't understand. But
I think it was Sam Monson.
Yeah,
from PFF or the 33rd team.
Yeah, I think it was the third. He's no longer at BFF, but I don't understand that.
He was at PFF.
Yeah, he's no longer there. But I just don't understand, Steven, some of the voting. I don't think that I thought Stafford should have had a much larger margin, although Drake May has had a very good season. I don't think it was on the par of Matthew Stafford. So, but anyway, it is what it is. The right person won. And of course, there was also the announcement of the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026, in which Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are both not going to be on there. Maybe a good thing, because considering their relationships, but good to see a guy like Roger Craig get in. A guy who was on.
I knew that was very much influential because of the San Francisco tie there. Although I do believe it took way long for somebody like Roger Craig to, get in. He should have gotten in a lot sooner.
Yeah, I mean, considering what he did for those San Francisco teams, and also a double threat, should have gone in. Luke Kuechly of the Carolina Panthers got in as well. Drew Brees. That was if he
no brainer.
Yeah, if he didn't get in, there would have been some corruption there. But overall,
Larry Fitzgerald
had to get in. Also,
Adam Vinatieri,
Adam Vinatieri, probably the last kicker we're going to see in a very long time. But overall, I think a very good class, a well-deserving class. I would have liked to have seen Kenny Anderson of the Cincinnati Bengals or L.C. Greenwood of those great steel curtain teams of the Pittsburgh Steelers get in. However, that wasn't the case. It looks like they have to. I don't know how they're going to get in, Kenny Anderson and L.C. Greenwood. But now with that Belichick and Robert Kraft not getting in, you're considering some of the people who are eligible for next year. That's going to be interesting. We'll see a logjam, and you can only have 5 people get in. We talked about that last week, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, Stephen. But overall, I think the Hall of Fame class, a very good, well-deserving class, and we'll see them in Canton in August.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why they're just limiting it to just 5 people when there's so many deserving players who should be in it. Because next year's class, get this, it's going to be super loaded. The first-time eligible people. Let me bring up a screen there, because some of the names are going to be, crazy. Here's Yahoo: Gronkowski, Adrian Peterson, Richard Sherman, Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown. Yeah, you could forget about him. And Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, forget about him too.
And Eli Manning. eligible. Eli Manning did not get in last year.
Eli might have to wait 5 years just to even get a shot at this right now.
Yeah,
It might take him a long time. Andrew Whitworth, now with the Amazon, he should probably have a solid chance there. So you got a log jam there, and some of these guys that I just mentioned here, who are first-time eligible players, somebody will probably make it here. I can't specifically say who. Maybe Ben Roethlisberger, because he won 2 Super Bowls. One of the all-time great Super Bowls. Certainly, the sexual assault allegations from his career could have like an impact on the decision. Certainly not in comparison with the the Deflate Gate and the Spygate and all that stuff. But there are some interesting candidates who has to make some very interesting decisions too. Adrian Peterson was also in the same predicament because he beat his son with a birch or something like that too. When he was in his career, and he got suspended, if I'm not mistaken. So there are some guys who are well deserving, but there are some questionable characters. And if they're going to apply the same rules for Bill Belichick, well, they do the same for the players who actually played a game next year. So this is going to be a very, very interesting case with the 2027 Hall of Fame moving forward. All right, Ken, let's get to the game picks. Who are you picking and why?
I think you know my bias. I live in New England. I hate the Patriots.
Which is a shocker.
Living here is in the belly of the beast is absolutely awful, especially when you're a Browns fan. It was very nice and quiet over the last couple of seasons when they were going downhill, but now they're back again. The arrogance of the Patriots fans who think that football was only invented in 1993 when Bill Parcells came to the Patriots and they all of a sudden became a winning franchise. It's just ridiculous. Their arrogance is very similar to Toronto Maple Leafs fans who think that they invented hockey. So it's really horrible. So in order to shut them up, the Seattle Seahawks have to win this game and they have to blow them out. So I don't think they will, though. I think Seattle will win. I think their defense is very good. If the Patriots win tomorrow, this is going to be Hellmouth times 2 here in New England. So please, for the sake of the country, Seattle, please, and let's not forget that Robert Kraft's plane for the Patriots has been used by the government to deport detainees and also used to fly people to Guantanamo. So it's debatable whether they've been used by ICE in the last year or so, but it has been used by the government. So Robert Kraft is known as a ally of Donald Trump. So I mean, I'm not going to use that against the Patriots, but I'm in my own mind. I'm trying to think of another.
No, we've been seeing that pop up in recent timeline that he's also an avid Zionist, also in support of Jerusalem and Israel, in recent weeks. So that's no surprise. And I've seen people say F the Patriots and F Robert Kraft and all of that stuff too. So, but I apologize for interrupting.
That's okay. But anyway, I'm not going to use that against. That has nothing to do with sports. Okay, I'm going to keep that separate. But again, not a fan of the Patriots. Football alone. But I'm going to say the Seahawks for the sake of football fans. Keeping it sports only. I'm going to say that please Seattle, and I'm going to predict them to win by a score of 35-7. I know it's not going to be that close. I know the Patriots are a better team than that. Mike Vrabel is an excellent coach. He won the Coach of the Year in the NFL honors for turning around this team. There's a reason why that he was very desirable in last year's coaching cycle.
Right.
The Jets wanted him. The Patriots wanted him. several other
I
coaches.
mean, the Browns. Your Browns had him as an
As
assistant.
a consultant.
What is that?
He was a
Defensive
consultant.
assistant or something like that. Too.
He was a consultant, and why they didn't find a way to keep him, I don't know. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Vrabel's an excellent coach. Drake May is an excellent quarterback. They have Ramondre Stevenson, who's an excellent running back. They have weapons. Josh McDaniels is an excellent coordinator. He won the Coordinator of the Year in the NFL honors as well. So really, I don't think it's a 35-7 game is going to be that way. So that was my joking prediction. I tried to tell that to my coworkers who are Patriots fans today, but yes, all week. But to be honest, to be thinking with my head, it's going to be a close game. I do think the Seahawks will win. I think their defense is going to find a way. I know they said they're not the Legion of Boom, and they're definitely not. They're not. They're a different type of defense, but they have shown when it comes time to step up, they can make a stop. They're a bend no break defense. They also showed against San Francisco, which was depleted during the regular season, how devastating they can be. And also they stepped up against Los Angeles a couple of times, both at home. This is a West Coast game. It's going to help them. They didn't have to go far. They're very familiar with the surroundings in the Bay Area. They play every year in Levi Stadium. I'll give them that intangible. But overall, I will say Seattle will win this by a score of 35 to 20 to 27. Patriots keep it close, but I think overall the Seattle's defense will be the main thing that'll keep the Patriots away from winning another Super Bowl. Steven?
I agree. I think the defense for both teams are stout, and I think it's going to be a little more less of a like a low scoring game. I'm going to go 27-24. I'm going to go with Seattle as well. I haven't been really impressed with Drake May the last couple of weeks. His numbers have just kind of been flat, and hasn't looked good. It's a miracle that he hasn't costed the team victories, even with some bad fumbles. Whether it's through a sack or when he's carrying the ball, and then he lost several key fumbles in a game against Houston, of course, in that divisional round in that horrible snow condition in Foxborough. Yet the Patriots are reeling, and they're still winning. And May himself has had to make some good plays, and I do believe that Seattle has the goods. The defense is very good as well. Nick Emmanwori's injury is a bit of a concern. He was he suffered an injury, and he was kind of gimpy Tuesday or Wednesday this week. So, his health is going to be a huge factor, and I'm sure he's going to gut it out. But overall, I think Seattle is definitely, obviously, a different set of characters and players, coaches. They still probably remember the Super Bowl that they should have won, but they didn't. Ran Marshawn Lynch from a 3-yard line back then, and certainly they will love to do it again. Do a recourse on that one. So, but this time I think Seattle has the goods. I think they're extra motivated to win this one. I have a feeling Seattle will eke this out, and Sam Darnold, I think, is going to cap off his, a miracle comeback / redemption story with the MVP type performance on this one. So we both agree on the Seattle winning, and then hopefully becoming the America's team, at least for just for this season. Because we know that there is nothing worse than the New England Patriots winning Super Bowl once again. All right, Ken, let's get back to the. I apologize. Let me finish.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I will have to say that for the sake of the country, and again, now let me be facetious here again. For the sake of the country, we need Seattle to win this game, because the Patriots fans, again, very arrogant, who think that they know football. cry at every particular call. My friend and I, we used to say, get the tin cup, just cry for quarters, cry for everything that when you look for a call. So again, Seattle has to win this. Please, Seattle, please do the win. Please do win this game, and make sure that the Patriot fans, just to keep them down for a year. We know the Patriots are going to be back. They have a good management. They've got a great coach. I don't think that they'll be down for long. So at least for 1 year, Seattle, please win this game. That's all I ask. Okay, please.
All right. Let's go on to the next topic. It's concerning your Browns. Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, resigned obviously after losing the head coaching gig to the new head coach Todd Monk, and the most recently the OC with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to play a clip here of Todd Monken's introductory conference, and you probably kind of guess maybe this is something that may have kind of ended the Jim Schwartz's time, or at least the opportunity to come back.
My anticipation is we're not going to change the system. Very difficult to go against. I'm not planning on changing the system. We're built for the system that they're in currently. And I'm not going to get into staffing because that's not at this time to get into that. But they can be rest assured that we're going to keep the same system. We're still going to let them attack. We're still going to let them play free. I can't see another way. They're a big reason why I took this job. The defensive players. I didn't take this job because of Jim Schwartz. I have a lot of respect for Jim Schwartz, but as I would hope he has for me. But I took it because of the players that are here, the ownership, Andrew Berry, and the ability to build this roster from the ground up on the offensive side.
Okay, I'm going to put an end there. He specifically said that he didn't take this job because of, I wasn't trying to chip Jim Schwartz. That does seem like a shot, towards Jim Schwartz, even if it was, inadvertently there. But I think when he said that kind of probably put a kibosh on any hope of Schwartz returning, or even, Schwartz himself probably thought that, well, if Monken is taking a shot at me, well, then I ain't coming back, and sure enough, Schwartz announced his resignation. He will not be coaching for the rest of the year, well, at least for this upcoming season. He does have 1 year left on his contract. There are some still defensive coordinator positions open in some other coaching capacities out there. Ken, do you feel like was Monken taking a shot at Schwartz for some reasons, or do you feel like this is all about nothing?
Jim Schwartz has a giant ego. Okay, he thinks for nothing. Did I like his coaching for the defense of last season for the Browns? Yes, absolutely, and he helped that defense become the number one defense amongst in the NFL. Of course, there were other extenuating factors why the Browns were such a bad team, but Myles Garrett was fantastic. They have the defensive rookie of the year on the team as well. So, there's no doubt that the defense was not the problem in Cleveland. Okay. But I got to say, Jim Schwartz has an inflated ego. Okay.
Right.
And of course I mentioned what he did down in New Orleans with the Bounty Gate down there. He cost Sean Payton a year of his job because of the bounties. And he really is not a nice guy. Okay. He's not head coach material. We've seen it. We've seen it in the NFC North when he was with Detroit. He felt that he should get I know he felt that the Haslams were going to bow down and bow to him and give him the head coaching job. Well, they showed it. And Jim Schwartz should get the hell out. And he's going to. He'd get the hell out of Cleveland, go somewhere else, take a year off, and then go find another job where you can become another guy who's going to try and backstab your coach. So I just don't think that Jim Schwartz deserves it. I don't think that he showed anything to me that he should become the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And Todd Monken, God bless him, he wrote an essay that I guess that the Haslams liked, so to get the job. So I don't think that Jim Schwartz, should have gotten the job, and there was nothing for him to for the Cleveland management to genuflect to him. He's not that type of guy, and I give them at least I give Cleveland management hats off for just saying, hey, look, we're going to do our search, we're going to find a guy. Jim, we understand you want to be the head coach. I'm sure he got interviewed for it, but if he's so that hurt over it, he has the right to leave, and that's what he did. So, fine. Don't coach next year. Don't do anything you want. I just think that he's ruined his. I don't think he's helped his reputation at all by this type of crybaby attitude. So get the hell out, leave, go somewhere else, go coach, and go try and sabotage another coach down the line. Because I really don't feel he's a guy I don't think he's a stand-up guy, to be honest with you, Stephen.
Well, I definitely feel that he had one foot out of the door, Jim Schwartz. And then Monken's comment really pushed him out of the door. Certainly. I don't know if Monken had enough of Jim Schwartz's attitude, or the conversation just did not go well at all between two sides. But whatever it is, Jim Schwartz is out, and now the Browns are looking for a new head coach, a new defensive coordinator. All right, let's move on to the next topic. This week, another shocking news that really hit the sports world this week. The Washington Post layoffs, literally lay off pretty much the entire sports department. It's a historical paper with great writers that have gone on to do great things. I lived in the DC area in the early 2000s, the year after 9/11, and I was fortunate enough to watch Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon. Still at Washington Post at the time, was always able to read their columns on the Post, along with Sally Jenkins as well. And maybe Thomas Boswell was still also writing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I think the news broke recently that they were not going to send anybody to cover the Cortina Winter Olympics, which was a shame itself. And I think that was kind of like where the writing was on the wall there. Jeff Bezos basically bought the paper and then, tear down and destroy it like pretty much every billionaires nowadays would like to do these days. It's a sad reality. The print media is trying to do all they can to keep afloat. There are many jobs that are possibly available for many of these people at this day and age when the economy is not doing very well, especially on pretty much every industry at this time with all the mass layoffs that are taking place there. Ken, what are your overall thoughts on this layoffs and the future of sports media, where it's heading right now?
Well, if I had a crystal ball and could tell you about what's going to happen with sports media, I'd be a billionaire myself. I don't think anybody has that answer. But what happened to the Washington Post was absolutely tragic.
Yeah,
people saw, first of all, I think people saw a clue when they didn't send writers to the Super Bowl. And then also there was mentioning they weren't going to send reporters to the Milan Cortina Olympics, even though they had a whole staff ready. They rented rooms. They canceled all that. They eventually did acquiesce and send a few reporters. They said, I think instead of the 20 or 25 writers that they were going to send, they sent about 4. And then, of course, a lot of reporters who are in Ukraine got laid off. They're living in cold
Right.
conditions. They eliminated the
Oh,
entire book section. Um, this is a paper that has a proud tradition. Catherine Graham owned it. You of course go back to Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, who uncovered what happened with the Watergate, and of course became a movie with All the President's Men, starring Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford. It's a proud tradition, and of course they were having issues. So Jeff Bezos came in, and what at the time they thought he's going to save the paper, and of course they used the slogan "Democracy dies in the darkness." But Bezos now trying to get favor with the current administration, changed everything. And of course, I think people saw the writing on the wall when the paper was going to endorse Kamala Harris over Donald Trump, but then he squashed that endorsement. And ever since then, things have been happening with the newspaper. A lot of people canceled their subscriptions. I had a subscription to the Washington Post because I wanted to support good journalism, but then I canceled it. I think a lot of people did that, and I think that caused the paper to start hemorrhaging money. The New York Times, I think, also sent a blueprint for the paper by getting rid of its sports section, but they bought the Athletic, so they kind of expanded their sports coverage, but they outsourced. But I don't know what's going to happen. I hate to think that the Washington Post is going to go by the wayside, Stephen. It's tradition in journalism. Just doesn't go back to the 1970s, but it's been great for politics. It's been done a lot to cover local issues in Washington, D.C., in addition to national. So what Jeff Bezos is doing, and what's interesting is that their editor, who didn't even bother to go on a Zoom meeting to announce these layoffs, was
Will Lewis, right?
Yeah, he was seen on the red carpet on the NFL honors this week, which is again tone deaf, which is absolutely horrific. So I don't know where this is going to go. I can't predict. I hate to see the demise of this paper, but I think that's where it's heading. I think that's what Jeff Bezos is going to do. He's going to basically decide to kill the newspaper and write it off because he can do that as a billionaire. So again, we just can't depend on billionaires to save us. We know that they're going to try and do something just to get the most money, and this is one of the things that they're going to do. And to do this to the there have been reports now since then that a local businessman wanted to buy the local sports section from the Washington Post to try and save it, but that didn't happen. So a lot of great writers that cover the local sports, about the Commanders, the Nationals, the Wizards, the Capitals. They're all gone. They're all a lot of talented people. And as you mentioned, whether they can get jobs or not, I don't know. But I just to think that the Washington Post, which had a great sports section on a par with the Boston Globe, the New York Times, and the San Francisco Chronicle and the Los Angeles Times, is no more. And it's a sad thing to see. But where this is going, Stephen, with media and sports media, I have no idea. But it's very sad to see, and I'm just devastated to see something like this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. If it can happen to Washington Post, it can happen to any paper, big or small, in this country. And it's the billionaires' way of trying to shut down the media to, keep the world in their control, and just try to silence people, or at least try to make us not pay attention and so forth. So you really have to be very, very careful about what their ulterior motives are, and just make sure that you stand on your ground, and just find the the right way to follow the information. Never let these people dictate your life, or make you a sheep or something. So I hope that the people at Washington Post will hopefully land on their feet, whether it's writing or not, and then find a way to keep their profession, or at least keep their goal, or at least their dreams alive moving forward. All right, Ken, let's see. Let's move on to the Winter Olympics. Certainly it's underway. Give me your thoughts on the overall so far. We had a opening ceremony yesterday.
Yep.
Certainly, I have a different take on this one, which we will get to. But I'll let you have your thoughts on the the game, the media coverage, and so forth.
Well, of course, as someone who covers the sports media, I'm always looking to see how NBC covers things. I also watch the international coverage. I have BBC and Nine Network, and also from Australia and CBC, which is the Canadian Olympics rights holder. I particularly like watching the BBC because it's commercial free, and even though they're not the main race holder in Europe, in England, like they used to be. They are a sub rights holder to do Eurosport and TNT Sports which has the main rights in Great Britain. But overall, the Olympics got underway officially last night with the opening ceremony in Milan. It was held simultaneously in 4 different venues, which is not easy to do. But we saw the Parade of Nations. Vice President J.D. Vance got booed when he was put on the screen when the American athletes were introduced. So that was quite interesting. Overall, some of the events were underway before the Olympics, like curling. Also, some women's hockey games are underway. The United States played a couple of their games, as did Canada right now, but it's underway. The first medals were given out. Men's downhill. I went to Sweden. I believe also the big air went to a Japanese athlete.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see. But and luge is also underway. So the great Lee Diffie, who calls the NASCAR and is called Formula One for NBC in the past, is calling the luge and the bobsled. So it's great to hear his voice. But overall, I have to say that, I'm an Olympics fan, but I also know that at the same time how they run. I do have a little bit of hope because Kirsty Coventry is the new IOC president. And for the first time from a speech during this opening ceremony, I heard some empathy from her. I heard some hope, and also heard a lot of interesting things that I have not heard from an IOC president before, whether it be Thomas Bach, Jacques Rogue, other presidents. And I go back, and my memory goes back to Avery Brundage, who was an avowed racist. So I have some hope that under a different management style, and an athlete like Kirsty Coventry, who was a swimmer for Zimbabwe, I certainly hope that under new management and style that the IOC can change and won't be as corrupt. But we'll see what happens. The fact is this is all over northern Italy. There are 4 different cities, even though Milan and Cortina are the ones that are the main hosts. There are Livigno and other places as well. So it's going to be a logistical nightmare for networks, but it seems to be handled quite well. But we'll see what happens, Stephen. And go ahead on your thoughts on the Olympics.
No, I know you wanted to keep it. You said earlier about sports picks. You wanted to keep it, sports only, and it's very, very difficult, unfortunately. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. That too. Usually, I see some outrage from people, mostly the right-wing grifter types, who are getting upset that, some of the Olympic athletes themselves, who are actually speaking out on the, obviously they're not the ones getting booed, thankfully. And then JD Vance getting booed. That's well deserved, of course. And then the athletes themselves having to speak about what's happening in the country. This is the I believe freestyle skier speaking regarding representing the United States at a time like this. Take a listen.
I feel heartbroken about what's happened in the United States when, I'm pretty sure you're referencing ICE and some of the protests and things like that. I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect. And I hope that when people look at athletes compete in the Olympics, they realize that that's the America that we're trying to represent.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. If it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here.
I feel heartbroken about what's
sorry.
happened.
Well, I give kudos to these athletes. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I pushed my wrong button there. I give kudos to these athletes for speaking out. I know the booing was not specifically targeted towards them.
No.
These athletes themselves are not at fault at this. But I understand that if the athletes feel that they were certainly being targeted because they represent the United States. And I really appreciate these people for saying just because you wear the uniform or you represent the United States doesn't mean you represent everything about their values and everything. And then sure enough, you got the right wingers, a bunch of them getting all upset and pissy poor about stuff that the interviews that they were conducting. I'm going to share one here. Jake Paul, the grifter of all grifter, getting pissed about go live somewhere else or blah 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 blah. And then I kind of pointed out here, MMA Jake Paul built a career on saying whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Now he's telling someone to leave the country for doing the same. Imagine crying because an athlete doesn't support a billionaire pedophile allowing the government to execute American citizens in the streets. To which I replied, it's funny when grifting losers like Paul realizes not all white people are racist MAGAs, end quote. So, I give kudos again to these athletes using their platform in a country that's thousands and thousands of miles away. And yet they still have to deal with the morons like Jake Pauls and Byron Daniels of the world, MAGA politician, attacking them when in fact that neither men are always only using things to their advantage, and when somebody else tries to up them or just re-up their game, they get upset and then get their feelings hurt. When they think that the things only apply to them. So, hey. You can't have it both ways. It's not like the right wingers are the only person that they think that can the rules only apply to them and not everybody else. So that's all I have to say, Ken.
Yeah, I give them kudos for saying, hey, look, I'm not proud, and this is one of the things that the United States allows, that we can speak out over something that we didn't disagree with, or we don't support. I can disagree with people who have a different opinion about myself. Unfortunately, right now there is consequences on that. Unfortunately, instead of what it used to be, is that you could speak out and you wouldn't get a consequence. But and now
or lack thereof too.
Yeah, and now we're seeing with Bad Bunny now, with people saying that he's not from the United States or not an American. Well, people forget that Puerto Rico is part of the United States. It's not a state, but it is a United States territory, and he has an American passport. So, and while he sings in Spanish, and of course he had something to say about ICE during the Grammys last week. People don't. I'm sure the NFL has asked him not to say anything about ICE during his concert, but I don't think that they can stop him. If he wants to say something about ICE during the concert tomorrow, I think he's going to do so. He has a big platform himself. He has a lot of fans, and Bad Bunny is a guy who, whether you like it or not, is one of the biggest stars in the world. There's going to be Turning Point's going to have its own alternative halftime show. I don't know how many people are going to turn to it, to be honest with you. I've never heard the platform that they're going to be on. It's not like ABC is going to counter program with it. It's not. Turning Point is going to have its own platform, and I don't know if it's going to be subscriber based or not. But I don't think, to be honest with you, it's going to get as many viewership. The halftime show gets around 120 million viewers, Steven. I think Bad Bunny is going to get somewhere close to that. So, and not only that, it's not going to be just Bad Bunny. It's going to be other stars as well. The NFL always brings in, even though he's headlining the act, and it's going to be about 12 to 14 minutes long, there's going to be some other artists that are going to be joining him. So, I don't know why people get angry. I mean, we've had people who have sung Spanish at the, we've had
Shakira, J-Lo.
We've had other people, but just because
we even had Rolling Stones who are not Americans. Paul McCartney, who's not an American. I understand that's like more than a decade ago, for God's sake.
Yeah, we had U2 also too there, but just because it's a guy who doesn't fit the the CIS, the Anglo-Saxon type of way of singing. And of course, if you want to watch Kid Rock on the Turning Point thing, that's your right. You can do that. But you know what? Good luck finding it. I don't know where it's going to be. I'm not going to be looking for it. If you're going to cause that, I mean, back in the 90s when we used to have alternative halftime shows, like when MTV used to have their alternative halftime shows, and of course Fox did theirs with In Living Color, which actually did pretty well. That's when the NFL said, look, we got to do something here to make sure that people stay with the game. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people leaving to go to the Turning Point halftime. I think a lot of people are going to stay with Bad Bunny. And, we also have Bruno Mars too, who did a great job on his halftime show. So, you know what? Deep down, when it comes to the end of the day, Bad Bunny's halftime show is going to do very well in the ratings. And it's going to again, we're going to see this war on culture stuff that's going to be on Fox News the following day. But, that's fine. You don't have to watch. You don't have to look at it.
Exactly.
And Bad Bunny is going to do well. And you know what? It's going to be a fun show. And if you after the Grammys, I listened to some of his music. I have to admit, I'm not a great big fan of it, but it's fun to listen to, and he sings in Spanish.
Exactly.
And he's an American. When it comes down to it, he is an American living in Puerto Rico, which is in the United States territory. So for those people who are not American, I suggest you retake your geography courses to realize what exactly is an United States territory, what is not.
Their idea of an America or an American is, obviously white people only. So, yeah, it's as stupid as it sounds and as stupid as it is. So, hey, like I can only imagine what the reaction is going to be if a K-pop star starts performing in the halftime show moving forward.
I would love to see BTS. I would love to see BTS or even the K-pop Demon Hunters be in the halftime show. I think it'd be a great thing. And
no, it's a great thing. I'm just saying that these people are going to complain about Spanish.
Well, they'll complain. You're right. They'll complain about it. But it would be great if BTS, if let's say the NFL, if they really wanted to tap into the young audience, they get a K-pop or, bring in the K-pop Demon Hunters. I would watch that. I think it'd be a great show. It would be really, they would lip sync, but they would probably be a great show.
Absolutely. All right. Let's get to the a couple more topics, kind of like our final word segment. I wanted to bring it up. The Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kalshi problem. This is a kind of a tie-in with the NBA trade deadline that really, not the one that involved did not happen, which, Giannis and the, Shams Charania looked like he took a massive credibility hit, because obviously he was hyping about the whole move of him perhaps being dealt finally for the first time. And then when he was not traded, he announced that he is a part of he joined the Kalshi, which is a trading platform along the lines of Polymarket. For those who are not
Prediction market. It's a
prediction market, yes, prediction market along the line of again Kalshi, and then the Polymarket, which has become a lightning rod of criticism.
It's about gambling too. It's all about gambling.
It is, and it's a prediction market because you have so many people, predicted about him being traded, which obviously, so much money was being put into, and then Giannis didn't get traded, and then just like maybe an hour or a few hours after he was not traded, actually the day after the trade deadline passes, he joins Kalshi, which obviously is not a good look on Giannis or the NBA for that matter, Ken.
Excuse me, I had to cough. Yeah, it's not. And it's also going to raise questions about the NBA being fixed and rigged again, which
right, the integrity that is obviously.
This should not be allowed. I know that gambling and fantasy and all this stuff is in the wild, wild west market, and United States, the Supreme Court allowing gambling, sports gambling. So right now, everyone's trying to tie in and trying to make money off of it. But the prediction market is really something that's very, very scary because, again, you're trying to get people to predict where you're going to go. Right. And the NFL is trying to discourage its players from getting into it. We're also right now seeing college basketball players who are being tied into gambling again. College basketball has a long had had gambling issues, going back to the point fixing scandal in NIT with CCNY and NYU back in the 1950s, Stephen. So you hate to see things like this. The fact that him and Shams Charania were involved in this is a very, very bad look. The NBA.
Well, I'll say this: Shams didn't have anything with Kalshi. At least I like to think.
Right, but he's had some ties into this. So you have to stop this. The NBA, the NFL, the Major League Baseball, all NHL have all got to say, "Hey, look, we cannot allow this. We know that gambling's legal. There's nothing we can do about that. We know that the fantasy's legal. We can't do anything about that. But we have to stop like predictions because that's where you can start to fix things, and that's where they can start to play with it. So." You've got to find a way to get on top of this, Stephen. Even the college leagues, even college football has got to get into this because it's all very scary. And if we get another scandal and you start to really play with the integrity of the game, it's really, and tennis has also had some problems with this as well with match fixing too. So you really have to get on top of this. This really have to stop this. And while gambling markets and some casinos have actually called in to say, hey, there's some really strange activity on this match.
Right.
Not everything is going to be able to be policed that way. And especially with prediction, this is a really scary thing, Stephen. I admit I don't understand everything about it, but it's
But
over there than what I've read. That you could kind of like, especially in a prediction, saying, hey, maybe I can, if I know I'm going to get traded, maybe I can fix a way to do it so we can all make some money off of this. that's not a good thing to do. And Giannis has got to realize that. And I know that he's well loved in Milwaukee and brought them a championship. But you've got to, the NBA. I know it's difficult to. I'd hate to say predict these things, but I know you have to get on top of it, and they have to find a way to ban it because you can't allow the players to become to get a partnership and get a piece of ownership on some of these places because once they do, it's Katie bar the door. Once the genie is out of the bottle, it's difficult to get it back in. So they have to find a way to get this stopped because you can't allow this to happen. And Kalshi is, I know they've been banned from advertising on the Super Bowl. These Kalshi and other prediction markets, but I don't know. They've got to find a way to get on top of this right now because it could lead to be a very bad thing later down the line.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Giannis certainly owns an explanation on his involvement. Certainly, there has to be an investigation into did Giannis intentionally control the narrative to drive up the price for Kalshi, and then did he have a control in the stake of Kalshi even before this announcement was made? So there are some very much a lot of gray areas that are that needs to be clarified. NBA themselves, they need to get involved and get to an investigation. And again, Giannis himself, he owes an explanation. Why did he make this announcement now? And this is not a good look on him, considering the amount of the trade rumors that he was actually involved in. So, this is this is not going to go away. And for him to turn a blind eye or at least pretend that he owes he doesn't owe anybody an explanation is preposterous in my opinion. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting how both the NBA and Giannis move forward with this decision, because it's not a good look on an NBA, which certainly at a time when the product of the NBA is taking a massive hit with multiple streaming sources. You have to subscribe to just watch games, and then the game itself is kind of significantly watered down, and the quality of the game has suffered greatly in the recent years, so forth. So any other things you want to add, Ken?
Yeah, one thing to watch tomorrow, and of course you have to, before I forget, I know Tim Donaghy is going to probably get his word in and somehow about this whole fixing thing. So keep an eye out for that. But anyway, in regards to the Olympics tomorrow, Lindsey Vonn will be going for the women's downhill early tomorrow morning around 5:30 in the women's downhill. You may recall a week before the Olympics, she tore her ACL, so she's skiing basically on a knee replacement. She had a knee replacement. She's been winning races in the World Cup this year, but she got a injury last week in Utah, and she basically ripped out. She has no ACL, but she's been doing the training run. She's been doing well. But earlier today in USA Today, some idiot, his name is Greg, I think, let me get his name. I'm not even going to show his piece here, Stephen, but
Greg Riley or something like that?
Greg Garber. He wrote an opinion piece.
Greg Garber, okay. Yeah.
And he basically said at 41, she shouldn't be doing this. She shouldn't be doing this at all. She said, and he basically compared her to Willie Mays when he's in his last days for the New York Mets. We're not going to show this article because and I don't want you to link to it. It's really stupid. Luckily, a very good one of my favorite people, Nancy Armour of USA Today, called it misogynistic trash, which I totally agree with. Lindsey Vonn has a great chance. Now, is she going to medal tomorrow? I don't know. She did do well in the second training run earlier today. So we'll see what happens. There was another American in there named Breezy Johnson, who did not finished out of the medals in Beijing 4 years ago. She has a chance to probably be the favorite to win this for the Americans. But for Lindsey Vonn to be out there basically on a new knee and no ACL on the other, that's unbelievable. And she's an inspiration. That doesn't matter if you're what age you are. Okay, she's an inspiration to everybody. So the fact is, Stephen, I really do think that she has an opportunity to become a great story. And even if she doesn't even compete tomorrow, the fact that she even tried out there, and that's the whole thing about the Olympics, is that it's even though even though we can all say, hey, look, they leave white elephants behind. They're something. It's about the spirit. It's about the athletes themselves. And once the Olympics start, you talk about the athleticism. You talk about the great stories that we have. And Lindsey Vonn is a great story. At the age 41, Stephen, 4 years ago, she wasn't even skiing. She wasn't even in Beijing. She wasn't even doing it. Everyone thought she was retired, but here she is. She's won a few World Cup races this year, trying to come in. Will she medal tomorrow? Maybe not. But even if she does, what a great story that's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Win or without it, yeah. I think the fact that she's still out there competing is an amazing testament. And hopefully, we'll get to watch it before Super Bowl, obviously on NBC. So you don't have to literally change the channel at all, pretty much. You could be on NBC all day and pretty much watch it all the way till the end of Super Bowl. Well, Ken, listen, thank you so much for doing this on this Saturday. I know it's an unusual time, but really appreciate it. Thank you very much also to 58 people who came to join us on this short notice. Obviously, Saturday, I know a lot of people are probably out there doing some last-minute shopping for their spreads tomorrow, whether they're hosting a Super Bowl party or whether they're going to one. I hope you all have a wonderful game tomorrow. Ken and I will be back again next week at this time. Not this Saturday, but next Sunday, hopefully at an earlier time slot than usual to discuss about the Super Bowl. Obviously, I'm working tomorrow during Super Bowl. I'm trying to, catch up on some of the games, and also we'll discuss about the some of the commercials and the ones that we like, which we don't like, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to put an official bow tie to the NBA season next Sunday. Ken, thank you so much for doing. Yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead.
We want to mention, of course, AA is also we talk about Asian. Next week is Lunar New Year. It's the year of the horse. So we want to wish all of you a great Lunar New Year. Be careful, of course, if you're going to celebrate Lunar New Year. Steve and I, it's a very important date for Stephen and I. Please do not fall into the trap that communist China likes to say it's called Chinese New Year. It is not. It is celebrated by the entire Asian continent. Vietnam calls it Tet. We call it Lunar New Year in Taiwan. Do you call it Lunar New Year in Japan, Stephen, also, or what do you call it? Is it also
no, just a New Year.
Okay. So it's a very important time for us. So just know it is not. China cannot claim it by calling it Chinese New Year. It is Lunar New Year or Tet, wherever you are, wherever the Asian, wherever the country does celebrate. But we want to wish everybody a great New Year, and thank you very much. And we will see you all next week. And go Seahawks! Win for America! Thank you.
Enjoy Super Bowl, everybody. Take care.